Tom and the Fields of Green, a story of hard work, teamwork, and tolerance. In the quiet countryside of the United Kingdom, nestled between rolling hills and stone walls, lived a young farmer named Tom. He had inherited his family's farm, a patch of land that had been in the family for generations. The fields were green and wide, but the farm had seen better days. The barn needed repairs, the crops were struggling, and the animals needed extra care. Tom loved the farm deeply, but he knew he couldn't do everything alone. He was determined to restore the farm to its former glory, but it would take hard work, patience, and something Tom hadn't yet realized: teamwork. One spring morning, Tom looked out over the fields, scratching his head as he thought about all the work that needed to be done. His neighbor, Mrs. Patel, walked over from her farm next door. "You've got quite a bit on your plate, haven't you, Tom?" Mrs. Patel said with a kind smile. Tom sighed. "I want to get the crops planted, fix the barn, and make sure the animals are well cared for, but it's so much work for just one person." Mrs. Patel patted his shoulder. "Even the best farmers need a little help sometimes. Why don't you ask for assistance? We've got plenty of neighbors around here who'd be happy to lend a hand." Tom hesitated. He had always been taught to work hard and do things on his own. But he also knew Mrs. Patel was right. The farm was too much for him to handle alone. "I suppose I could ask for help," Tom said slowly. "But everyone's got their own way of doing things. What if we don't agree on how to get the job done?" Mrs. Patel smiled gently. "That's where teamwork comes in. You'll learn to work together, appreciate each other's skills, and respect each person's contributions. You'll see, it's about more than just hard work. It's about working together." The next day, Tom swallowed his pride and asked for help. His neighbors, a mix of people from all walks of life, were more than willing to assist. There was Mrs. Patel, who had years of farming experience. Mr. O'Connell, a retired carpenter, offered to help repair the barn. And even young Jack and Sarah, local teens with no farming experience, wanted to pitch in. At first, Tom wasn't sure how it would go. He was used to doing things his way, but he knew he had to be open to new ideas. As they began working, Tom found himself learning from everyone around him. Mrs. Patel showed Tom a more efficient way to plant crops, using techniques she had learned from her own family. Mr. O'Connell taught Tom how to properly fix the barn's wooden beams, explaining that craftsmanship took patience and care. Even Jack and Sarah, who had never worked on a farm before, brought energy and enthusiasm, willing to try anything. As they worked together, Tom noticed something wonderful happening. Everyone had different skills, backgrounds, and ideas, but they all shared the same goal: to bring the farm back to life. The field buzzed with activity, and Tom realized how much better everything was when they worked as a team. One afternoon, while they were working, a disagreement arose. Jack, who had never planted crops before, was putting seeds in too close together, while Mrs. Patel wanted them spread out. Tom watched the exchange, unsure of what to do. "Jack, you can't put them so close," Mrs. Patel scolded. "Well, it's working fine for me," Jack replied, a little stubbornly. Tom stepped in with a calm voice. "Hold on, let's talk about it. Mrs. Patel has more experience with planting, but Jack is trying hard. Let's see if we can find a middle ground." They took a moment to listen to each other, and Tom showed Jack how planting the seeds a bit farther apart would allow them to grow better. Jack, though reluctant at first, soon realized the wisdom in Mrs. Patel's method. "I didn't know that," Jack admitted. "Thanks for explaining." "No problem," Mrs. Patel said kindly. "We're all learning here." Tom smiled, grateful for the way they had worked through their differences. It reminded him of something his father used to say: "It's not just about working hard, but about working smart and working together." As the weeks passed, the farm slowly began to thrive. The crops started to grow tall and healthy, thanks to the combined efforts of the team. The barn, with Mr. O'Connell's skilled hands and the eager help of Jack and Sarah, stood strong and sturdy once again. One evening, as they all gathered for a meal at the farm, Tom looked around at the group of people who had helped him so much. He felt a deep sense of gratitude. "I couldn't have done this without all of you," Tom said sincerely. I've learned a lot about farming, yes, but also about working together and how important it is to appreciate each other's contributions. Mrs. Patel smiled warmly. That's what makes a community strong, Tom. We work hard, we help each other, and we respect what everyone brings to the table. By the end of the season, the farm was thriving. The fields were full of ripe crops, the animals were healthy and well cared for, and the barn stood proudly against the backdrop of the rolling hills. Tom knew that his hard work had played a big part in the farm's success, but he also understood that the farm wouldn't be where it was without the help of his neighbors. He had learned that working together as a team, respecting different opinions and ideas, and being grateful for everyone's help made all the difference. And so, Tom's farm became a symbol of community, a place where hard work, teamwork, and tolerance came together to create something truly special. The farm wasn't just a patch of land. It was a place where people from all walks of life came together, worked side by side, and appreciated the value of helping one another. As the years went on, Tom continued to care for his farm with the same dedication. But he never forgot the lessons he had learned, the importance of working hard, the power of teamwork, and the strength that comes from embracing differences and showing gratitude.